I promise to leave you with a history, a consistency. 'Cause it only makes sense to me to lead the resistance on no pretense. Till on insist, I'll resist my own temptations. That direction I stray to when things get too intense. I vow to keep my word and like Plea, I'll twist this for your interest. Gotta leave you defenseless since senses aren't so common, I need to knock you senseless. Just to reawaken your consciousness to the most uncommonest of solutions. You know, dilution of the pollution that's driving you insane. Where your heart lies, where the blood flows, straight to your brain. I introduce a simplistic parasite deducing how we are all the same. An idea about love like a rose by any other name. Delivered to you sweet, but still a parasite, so think. You see, I'm better for using metaphors to explain the ploy scripted for rich men to enjoy at your expense. So I employ so coy my royal ancestor spirits. You heard right, I take flight. If you ever heard a native play the flute, then you would feel it. It's slave prices, all profit chain jailbirds, they been caught 'em. So when workers needed slave auctioneers round 'em up from the city's bottom. Or they build 'em strong, name 'em Braun, name 'em Michael. Sell 'em dreams that's extreme, blind 'em with fake reality things, help perpetuate the cycle. Or make 'em run, give 'em guns, give 'em coke, give 'em a little bit of fun so they think they the kings with the rings winning titles. It's study our curriculum, work for minimum wage or no funds from the states. Then they take the fathers from the welfare, mothers take the mother from the home but restrict what she makes. Expose them to violence, addict them to spending energy on technology to mindfuck their intellect with a little reverse psychology. It's distract, divide, and conquer. Give one group a head start with better food, housing, jobs, then later like a hater when the other needs the same. We'll call their ass slobs like Crips and Bloods. I mean, light skin and dark skin, when we all can't really care about what's good. But it's too cool to be from the hood. Why not? Unless you can be the entertainer. Much ain't go over slow though, so they rather slang that ocho or pimp a chicken gamer. Only want to be gangsters and strippers, so I'll tip her and pray for dude. 'Cause I'm not religious but spiritual, make my ritual to pray in case your God is hearing me. My ancestors claim to reign, not much my name, just glad that they cheer for me. So bless. God bless, Jah bless, Allah bless. 'Cause we all blessed if we stop being the paradox of the goddamn and the godless in this losing game of chess. So yes, bless. They asked me what is pain. So I grabbed a knife, made a sacrifice, and split open a vein. I squeezed tight, forcing the blood to drip from my grip, to stand back and stare at all of it. The pain wasn't in the cut or the blood spilling from it. It was in the minuscule moments before of euphoria, when your life starts to slip away and it never meant more to you. Maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe it's in the impact of that bullet that pierced Tamir Rice's skin. Maybe it's in his mother's tears knowing that she'll never see her baby again. Maybe it's in the bloody chunks of Mark Gee's hand in Benghazi. Maybe it's in the hurt knowing we almost lost Kehlani's tsunami. Or that needle overdose to the fiend who chased too close to the edge. Or knowing Brock Turner got 3 months for 20 minutes of action before they pried him from that young girl's legs. So in disdain, I remain convinced there's too much to pain to explain all of it. They'll filter your lens with positivity and say it's because I'm black and you're white. They'll say that my way is for negativity because white has always been associated with right. We don't understand. We will never be without each other. The black ink from my book can't make a mark without a white canvas, and we could canvas a canvas, but it's clear a canvas with no colors would be boring and bland unless we could lighten up the world with no reference to hue, but still have white men in black and blue beating black men until they're black and blue. 1964 issue. Ben had an Emancipation Proclamation, but still separate, unequal issues. Clearly, there's no race to end a race of race issues, something that only exists because we acknowledge skin pigments. How we'll inject melanin in our culture and not our skin and act like we're all that much of a difference. We don't understand that we will never be without each other. But you can't appreciate the day until you make it through the night, because without the dark, the lights don't shine so bright. So even if it was decreed that all free men were created equal, they forgot to mention how it would never apply to citizens of a nation who didn't even consider them people. Then history went along and assassinated all of those who wandered. So I guess the economy still exists because divided, we're conquered, and we're conquered. Too deaf, dumb, and blind to the problems of another. But if you can't love yourself, how could you love another? You see, I knew I had to pave on for Trayvon. I knew I had to take a stand like Malcolm X for Sandra Bland. I knew before I could finish this poem, another life would be taken. And honestly, I'm too tired to pray or protest for another one of God's forsake. So here's to Eric. Here's to Alton. Here's to Dylan. More lives lost to unjust police killings. Lord willing, apparently, to make it your life or mine. It's using intuition like precision on incision to bring into fruition the things that I've envisioned. It's making a decision to conquer no provisions, to paint your own story knowing you're going with no revisions. Until a chaotic collision breaks the ego's intentions. The future manifests into the things we forget to mention. So pay attention. What I mention is what your sixth sense is missing. Pay attention. What you mention is repetition until retention. Plead for all mankind to learn your lesson. Subtract the ego, make it add up to your confessions. Cause it's only a recession when the Republican progressions are regressing. She emails some depressing, so they stressing a Hillary selection. It's more than bad impressions. Distract with weed and place restrictions on our protection. That's 58% that gave up our selection. Pride and misconception all over complexion. So looking in the mirror, I see reflection. I'll stop talking about racism when they remove the asterisk from my black. When we can approach consenting human adults with better symbolism and tact. I'll stop talking about equality when they remove the asterisk from my woman. When we unselect and unelect a misogynist puppet for putting. I'll stop talking about hope when they remove the asterisk from the LGBT community. When we learn you're either a brother or a sister without needing much scrutiny. I'll stop talking about racism when they remove the asterisk from my Mexican. Explain how we illegal when we all people from a continent that's American. I'll stop talking about equality when they remove the asterisk from my man. Replace these preconceived notions we need to be led by the Klan. I'll stop talking about racism when they remove the asterisk from my Asian. Subtract them out of minority, open your eyes and see it's more than a mathematic equation. I'll stop talking about equality when they remove the asterisk from my gender. Then quantify and qualify how trans means sex offender. I'll stop talking about racism and inequality when they remove the asterisk from my native. When we stop blowing smoke and selling pipe dreams about the massacre of a nation and who needs to be accommodative. I'll stop talking about hope when they remove the asterisk from the LGBT community. But a vow to remove does not negate impunity. I always knew hope was dead. So I put that needle in my vein, I put that gun to my brain. Cause America ain't like what they said. Land of the oppressed minorities. Where the seniority majority will claim that oppression does not exist. Where they could shoot a man who's down with his hands up claiming he tried to resist. Don't ask me about hope. I'd need to smoke dope, grab more rope, and string myself up next to Otis. As they proclaim and explain how I should just be happy they gave us a black POTUS. So I'll wade in these waters. I'll fight for the fathers who don't get to come home to their daughters. Cause a drug crime is a life sentence when you're black. It's systematic oppression, understand we are all under attack. You might just be the model minority. That's what the blacks following the bag, picking up the slack, taking lower wages accordingly. They'll hold us on bail, force mandatory minimums, ensuring we're raising cells. It's cause they know prisons need profits and slaves run from hell. So I'll stand out, never asking for a handout. Just letting you know what you have a hand in. Genocide of the impoverished based on 1 inch of skin. My black is not a crime and it does not make me dangerous. But then again, black men are just entertainment for the world. How could we expect you to be just? On that separate but equal. All people but you get just us and we're left with just us. So, don't ask me about hope. That shit been dead. "25 years ago that day, a cesarean went uncut. Despite Murphy's Law, a battle was born. A vaginal bled that birthed a bastard with a bright future. Combining his and hers, they made she. Mother birthed a him, then a her, and that her was ironically me. One of the eldest of 11. Technically, each following different paths they learned to live ever so recklessly. But this one was born with a pen in her right. Philosophical ideas mellowing on her mind and a basketball in the other hand. So when everyone chose to leave, it'd be all she had left. Brought up on Pokemon, Power Rangers, Johnny Bravo, and Recess. A true 90s baby. Not just born in it, but raised on it. Molded by a generation that lost Pac, Ali, and Eazy-E. She watched Jordan win Game 6, never imagined Iverson would teach her how effective a crossover could be. So she perfected her right hand in and out, relentlessly. Simultaneously, she found herself in her own words. Felt she wrote loud but never felt heard. Until life started playing out like a black telenovela, discovering she desired her own version of a Cinderella. Not one that could sneak off at the stroke of midnight. A lady following the law, willing to stand her ground and fight. One that could love a modern-day Bob Marley or Emily Bronte. A poetic mind that enjoys finding the perfect words to say. An unfinished book, an unfinished game, an unfinished product. One with her name. The origins. You see, my poetry, it's called flowetry because it gets stuck in your head. I'm like that modern-day male R&B singer trying to get you in bed. Yeah, I'm a crooner. I'll serenade you with sweet lines just for your ears. Then I say something passionate like I'm an activist and have you moved to tears. So cheers to the Frank Oceans with the symbolic message. Here's to the phenomenal woman with the blueprint, whose views brought news so they pressed it. That's my Maya Angelou reference, my rest in paradise homage. So if I'm doing it, I gotta shout out to Tupac for developing and delivering a free flow of knowledge to MLK for inspiring a way that has silence is taking a stance. So even though I know from who, I had to take that chance. My stolen moments, even when they blowing by, I gotta own it. Cause my ancestors hopped off a boat knowing it, that one day one of their kin would denounce that slavery and remind us we're all kings made of men. And by men, I mean man, because although we're not all still kind, we're still the human race in God's plan. I'm still inspired by Maximus and Marcus Aurelius. I'm still wondering if this is the world that Gandhi and Mother Teresa envisioned for us. Because I've always cared about right and wrong, so I would ride along until I would right what's wrong. Filling the pages with my heart's content. Using metaphors to encrypt the things I really meant. Single, double, triple entendre later, I'd finish off a poem if I get to grab some paper. So you know it's all mental. Like a freaky schizophrenic, asking for it gentle. It's fucking crazy. My style. By Battle. See, humanity's gone, the planet was wrong, society's left with drones and clones to inspire the youth. Our decline is the proof, so we'll dedicate this to the seekers of truth. Symbol the masses, make it a classic, so we could go Super Saiyan 2. Our new leaders teach the art of war, the people gon' rise, revolution at the door, evolution of more, that's a belief at the core, cause it's just your consciousness asking for more. It's more than a chore if you aspire for more, it's the building age, that's a future that's yours. But you can't handle the truth when I'm handing you proof, so I'm sending subliminal straight from a booth. I'm powering up, I'm going saber tooth, I'm like Ranger Chuck, I'm here to save the youth, I'm here